This is the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
The Everton our way.
Straight from the street end.
Howdy Blues, welcome to the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. Mr. Johnny 70 as always. And what a good time to be a Blue. I kind of joked, half joked, half had my fingers crossed that the Blues could make it 3 in a row. And intimated, how earlier on in the season that would just be absolutely an unheard of notion. And yeah, it's not that unrealistic now, is it? So a little bit of a recap of the Leicester game coming up, a review of all the ins and outs with the transfer window closing. I'm actually recording this late on Monday night because I'm holding out. I've got Sky Sports News on in the background, and I'm holding out just to see if anyone else comes in or if anyone comes in before the window shuts. But it's not looking like on the live updates, so we'll see. And then I'm just going to talk a little bit about the ticket situation again and season tickets, and then move on to a look ahead of Friday's show. So starting off though, and what a place to start, the Leicester game, visit of Leicester on Saturday. And it was potentially a tricky one because Leicester ended up, coming from 1 down to beat Spurs last week, and I mentioned that it was good that they kind of they got that victory because it wouldn't. It's not always fared well for Everton when we've gone against teams who've had a particularly bad run. So before that game, they'd lost 7 in a row under Rude, and then obviously they got that win against Tottenham. So weren't quite sure what to expect, and then we weren't quite sure what to expect from Everton with the changes that Moisey had to make, and of course, Mangala going off injured and Calvert-Lewin going off injured. So in came James Garner and Beto up top. The rest of the side, Pickford, of course, in goal. No change in the back four with O'Brien, Tarkowski, Branthwaite, and Mikalenko. Then it was kind of a strange central three because I was convinced that Decore would drop back into that Mangala position, and then it would be Garner alongside him, and then James Garner in front. It seemed to be Garner as the holding midfielder and Decore and James Garner, not confusing at all, in front a little bit, but they were quite dynamic in the way they played. They weren't necessarily fixed. Then, of course, Lindstrom on the right and Ndiaye on the left, and Beto up top, as I mentioned before. So, got the team pretty handy again, and I mentioned last time, or the past couple of times, I've been trying to get more content. So I got this new camera thingy with a gimbal, and I thought, you know what, it'd be a really good thing to try and get a match going, time lapse video of me walking up to the ground, going in through the turnstiles, and then going in through the concourse, and then up the stairs and to my seat and all that kind of stuff. So I'm pissing about with this bloody camera, and next thing I know, I heard a big cheer. And the Blues are 1-0 up. Didn't even know it kicked off. So when I normally go with Paul now, we've got to get our chippy, and he has to sort a lot of tickets out of the bar and stuff. So we're normally about 5-10 minutes late. And I used to be gutted about missing any minute out of it, but it's been hard going, hasn't it? So yeah, and he's doing his bit. So it's one of those. But he hasn't been going the last couple of games, so I was getting there handy, so I thought. Yeah, so 10.18 seconds in, didn't even know it kicked off, and the Blues were already 1-0 up with the fastest ever Everton Premier League goal, the fastest goal by a home side ever in the Premier League, and the fourth fastest ever. And Pickford with an assist, his second. So Who'd have thought our creativity would come from the goalie? And then Decore, of all people, popping up with his first goal of the season with so ball from Pickford. Um, Decore kind of chests it into his path. Great touch, actually. And then to the right of the goal, keeper comes out and he sweeps it across him into the far corner. Um, and the Blues are off and running. And who could believe it? 10.18 seconds in, and Blues are already setting the stall out. And Decore turning a few of those naysayers around. So good to see. And then 6 minutes later, the Blues double the lead with a bit of a carbon copy finish wise from the same kind of area. A great ball through, like kind of round the corner ish from Tarkovsky. And Beto takes it through. Could have laid it off to Ndiaye, he was screaming for it a little bit infield. But no, he takes it on himself. And as I said before, when he doesn't have to think about it so much, when he's running in onto the ball like that, I think he's a quality player, or has the potential to be a quality player, but was a quality finish anyway. And the Blues are 2-0 up. Not long after that, the Blues had the ball in the net again, which was a goal that was disallowed through an offside. Jake O'Brien, unfortunately. We had James Garner hitting the post. We had Beto bundled off the ball. And I don't know why we didn't get a penalty, but we didn't ultimately need one because Beto put us 3-0 up after a sublime through ball from James Garner, who got the club's man of the match in the end, and deservedly so, coming back in and just running the show really. Um, just inch perfect pass, split the defence. Beto running onto it. We said about this, Beto playing the ball and running onto the ball, with ball down the channels and stuff. That's his way of playing. He's not going to be that target man kind of player. So the ball through for the first goal from Tarkovsky. The ball in the cup a few weeks ago with Harrison Armstrong putting it through to him. If you've got players who can pick a pass like that, then changing the way we play, having players closer to him, so if he doesn't end up getting a shot away himself, he can lay it off. And well, he didn't even have to take a touch on this one. It was just that perfect the way it was through to him. And he didn't even take a touch. He kind of steadied his body. Keeper was coming out. I did him a little bit of disservice. I said the goalie should have got down quicker, but the goalie was past the goalie before he even had a chance. So he did get down, but yeah, it was a nice finish from Beto. And the Blues are 3-0 up at half time again. What's going on? And it could have been more, and Leicester didn't really offer any. And I think they had one shot that was blazed over the bar, and like a pitter patter back pass type effort, which was just straight into Pickford's arms. So um, yeah, just unreal, really. And as Everton fans, we are always going to be a little bit have that squeaky bum moment, aren't we? Because especially the Spurs game, 3-0 up, and they get it back to 3-2. But Leicester showed nowhere near offering anything. I couldn't. Let's see some of the stats. Some of the stats here. Um, so we have a goal in the first minute, of course. Talked about that. Goal in the 6th minute from Beto, and then we had in the 2nd minute of injury time, and then in front of 39,376, we had a goal from Iliman and Ndiaye, who scored his third in 3 games. I think his fourth in 5 now. So taking Moisey's impact, 3 wins in 4 games, 3 in a row, and yeah, Beto's performance great, and it was really nice to hear the conversation afterwards with Moisey saying he's really getting to know now. And in the past couple of podcasts, I've said that I don't think Moise fancied him, maybe he just hasn't seen enough of him, and his hand was forced, and that's the type of thing where it looks like he's taking it with both hands. So um, yeah, it's great stuff. Beto did end up going off, and I think the brought Harrison on and Young on, and threw Ndiaye up top. And then his persistence was ultimately rewarded with a goal, as I mentioned before. Um, Other opportunities, Lindstrom had a really good chance as well. So 13 shots to Leicester's 9. I can't remember where 9 Leicester's shots have come from, to be honest. 7 on target, 7 shots on target. I mean, that was unheard of under Dyche. Um, and 1 on target for Leicester, and even that one was very tame. Possession 47% for Everton and 53% for Leicester. And then 5 corners for the Blues and 6 for Leicester. So Moisey, give a lot of credit to Dyche's groundwork again, but you see the difference, and the way the players have kind of been let off the leash a little bit, haven't they? So uh, Moyes trying to play it down and trying to put all it back onto the players, which is great. And Moyes has always been good at that kind of stuff. And then building up Dyche's groundwork there that he did defensively. Another clean sheet for Jordan Pickford as well. So great to see, and it took us up above Tottenham temporarily. Obviously, Tottenham managed to get a win on Sunday, so not for long. But we're starting to see teams come a little bit closer. So West Ham at the moment are playing Chelsea, and they went 1-0 up. So it looked like they might have pulled a little bit away from us, but Chelsea have turned it around now so it's 2-1. So we can start. I said the other day, we can start looking up a little bit. Obviously, the next home game is the Merseyside derby, and 3 league wins on the bounce, and then we've got the cup game. Maybe Moyes has never done well in those games, but he's never been in this position before with Everton, uh, in the same kind of scenario. So it's all change, maybe, just maybe. Yeah, well, we can hope. The Bournemouth game, the weekends, I'll do a preview on that. But just going back to the Leicester win, just a great day as well. Just the atmosphere at the end, just people actually smiling coming out of Goodison. It's just, and it's not doom and gloom all the time. And I think the majority of fans now, there's still one or two who still, would like us to have brought in a more progressive manager and building towards the future. But Moyes is coming in, he's doing and saying all the right things. And that Villa game, in retrospect now, super tough that one. But the other 3 games since, he's what is it? So the Brighton away, 3 against Spurs and 4 against Leicester. So what's that? 8 in 3 games, and 3 wins in 4 games, which is what Dyche managed to do in 19. And I mean, the shots per game and all the XG and all that kind of stuff. I've got no idea what all that XG is. Never bothered to look into it, and but it's higher. It's a lot higher. So um, on the up, Toffee's on the up, and somewhere Neil Maupay's crying into his pint, and Sean Dyche is crying into his miles or whatever it is that he drinks, and good. So I will leave that there, and I'll be back in a sec with a little bit of Everton news. I'm going to pause this now, and I'm going to go back through and make sure we've not signed anyone.
News!
Okay, so yeah, still not doing. So I'm holding on. I'm holding on. Do you know what? If something does happen whilst I'm editing and stuff like that, I'll come back in and add it in. but it doesn't look like much is happening. Moyes' language, it changed a little bit over the last few. He did seem convinced that we were going to bring two or three faces in. And you're talking about the difficulties he's had in the past, particularly with the Fellaini one, and running around a hotel room trying to get that over the line. Um, and we have left it late in the past, but it doesn't look like there's much going to be happening. The main news that has come out in the last hour or so is that Harrison Armstrong has signed a new contract with the Blues, but has left to join Derby County on loan for the rest of the season. So highly rated, linked with a number of clubs, but he's gone out to Derby. And I saw someone posted something about Leon Osman doing a similar thing under Moyes many moons ago, and then coming back and really establish himself. I think Osman didn't actually break through as a young player until he was like 22, 23. So Harrison Armstrong got a few years on him. Um, but I think with the likes of Tim and James Garner coming back, um, obviously we could do with more names, and we could do with more players rather than having two goalies on the bench. But um, I just think maybe he thought he's going to get more of a chance to grow there, and hopefully it'll go well for him. There's um, still not seen full confirmation over the Alcaraz deal. Not that Alcaraz. So Alcaraz from Flamenco, and he was at Southampton for a couple of years, three, 4 seasons back, and has been dotting about, but that looks like that is going to be completed, but it's still not yet. So it's that was Friday. That was meant to have been confirmed, but he's meant to be having a medical today. The medical was went well apparently. Um, so that might be one of those where I think we can get the paperwork done and then just iron out the other little bits and bobs. But I think that's going to end up going through. But it doesn't seem to have done yet. So one in, one out. By the looks of things, it looks like was it Anyango's been recalled. I think from Stockport. I think it was. Um, Not much else happening. Obviously, the ones that we were linked. Beto was linked with a move away. It doesn't look like that's going to happen now, obviously. And I think Moyes is going to persist with him. And he really did take that chance. That one game could have been a difference between him staying or going. I don't know whether that's drastic to say, but he really took it and took that opportunity. And you know, there was all the stories about him. Growing up, being an Everton fan, growing up randomly and pictures taken in an Everton kit when he was a lot younger and stuff. And it'd be a nice story for him to turn it around and be consistent and have a good future in Everton. So hopefully he will. He's just turned 27. I think that was Friday. So two birthday goals for him as well. So the other players that we were linked with, Evan Ferguson has gone to West Ham on loan. Obviously, we still were in the position where we couldn't get a loan in because we didn't do anything yet with Broja or Jack Harrison. Willian has gone back to Fulham on a short-term deal. Chukwuemeka and Ben Chilwell have moved elsewhere. I think Chukwuemeka has gone to Dortmund. Well, he has gone to Dortmund, and Chilwell has gone to Palace. By the looks of things, I think that's still being ironed out. Matis Tell going to Spurs. I thought that might have opened the door for a possible Richarlison return, but we wouldn't have been able to get him on loan, would we? So it would have been having to buy him back, and I don't. I think Moyes is quite reluctant to do that. It's funny actually on the in the press conference, saying about. I said we're not going to be that club, are we? That we're playing Michael Keane up front if other players are injured. And Moyes said we might have to try that. He's going to be quite forced to try anything. So it hasn't got to that stage yet. So hopefully it won't. But you know, also Rashford. I wouldn't say he was linked with us, but some Blues had pipe dreams of potentially that happening, and he has gone on loan to Villa. So um, not a whole lot of movement in the transfer market. What was it? One of the big ones was it Tottenham had a bid for Palace's Gay for 70 million. Rejected. Matoma had Brighton had rejected a bid from Al Nassr for 54 million. John Duran went to Al Nassr for 60 million. Um, so they're the big moves, really. There's not that much else happening, and I think a lot of clubs are finding a similar kind of situation to Everton, although we're the ones who got stung for it with the financial fair play stuff. So I think a lot of clubs are hands are tied at the moment. So we just need to get through. Would have been nice to see a few faces come in, but get through, make sure we're in the Prem this year, and then just start afresh, and then put all this financial nonsense behind us and move on, onwards and upwards. So, not as much news wise as I would have liked, but we can't be too sour about it, can we? 3 wins on a bounce, and it looks like Moisey is getting a tune out of a lot of these players that Dyche couldn't. So it's not all bad. So quite a short episode again today. I will just give you our links, so please feel free to go follow if you're not already, and I'll be back in a sec with a little wind down.
This is the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. If you haven't already, go and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/EFC Not Bitter, Just Better, or you can find us on Twitter at Just Better EFC.
Okay, as I say, go and check out our links. If you're not already on our Facebook, X, or Insta, please feel free. There's a lot of it's the same content, but different platforms have different algorithms and all that kind of stuff. So go for it. The TikTok thing, I'm old. What can I do? I'm gonna keep trying. But yeah, don't hold your breath on becoming us becoming viral on there, because it's not likely. Other bits I just wanted to talk about. So finally renewed. Well, renewed. Got me tickets for the ticket for the new stadium, and we've moved away from where we normally sit. Got a decent spec in the south stands to the left hand side of the goal. Managed to get with the crowd that we sit with at the moment, and I think I said this last time and the time before. It's like if you can get a good crowd of people that you sit with and go to the game with, don't ever take it for granted, because we've been sat with some proper plant pots in the past who you just, what are you on? Proper negative, and we have a good laugh when we go. We only really know each other from the game and that, but good banter all the time, and it's nice to that's what we got to look forward to next season. Said about all the stones being laid in the ground, around the ground again. So for some reason I was convinced, my calendar has been all over the show. I was convinced that the test game was tonight, but I was also convinced that there was the derby on Wednesday this week, not next week. So just adds up, yes, as they say. So it ain't. So it looks like there's going to be a little bit more time to get those stones laid down, and hopefully they'll be in place for when the test event is, which is the 17th. So that's 2 weeks today. So I just saw a player in blue in the top right hand corner, and thought Everton might have been doing something or other, but no. So still nothing happens. And we're now, it's 20 past 10, and the window is meant to shut at 11. But as I said before, with the Alcaraz deal, that probably will have the paperwork done, and then they'll do the final signing off tomorrow, I imagine, if it's not done by 11 already. But yeah. So anyway, yeah. want to thank you all for listening again. As I say, a little bit of a shorter episode, but it's going to be like this while all the news shows are happening. I think next Mondays should be a little bit longer because it'll be a recap of the Bournemouth game. Obviously, no transfer talk, but it'll also be a recap, a preview of the visit of Vashite. So there should be a little bit of a longer show next Monday, and then for the episodes after that, the Friday after, I'll have a recap of that as well. So hopefully that will be positive as this one. So, well, the first part of this one anyway. Anyway, thanks for joining us, Blues, and let's keep it up there. Toffee's on the up. Come on, you blue boys.